A name from the past, a watch engraved with memory, a mission Modesty Blaise cannot refuse. When a friend long thought dead resurfaces in the grip of a jungle prison colony, Modesty and Willie must act fast. Modesty Blaise returns in part 3 of the mystery thriller Last Day in Limbo. Discovery of the engraved watch that reopens Modesty's past. Hi, I'm Danny Bull, and what you're about to hear is Modesty Blaise in a story called A Name from the Past, a full-cast dramatized radio series on crime, narcotics, murder, and noir mystery. Starring Barbara Kellerman as Modesty Blaise and James Boland as Willie Garvin, with 30 as Roman Paxero and Peter Marinko as Damien, we present Last Day in Limbo by Peter O'Donnell, dramatized for radio in 6 parts by Morris Travers and directed by Derek Hortnott. You're about to step into a classic world of vintage radio mystery, full of suspense, smart talk, and razor-sharp dialogues. If you love vintage radio mysteries and classic noir, subscribe to the channel BTC Radio and Audiobook, where we keep these voices from the shadows alive. And if you'd like to support us, scan the PayPal QR code on your screen. Every donation helps us restore and upload more rare episodes just like this one. Now light a cigarette, sit back on sofa, take a breath of relax, and let's get started.
How long now, Willie?
Another 15 minutes, I reckon, Princess, before we touch down at Orly.
Good.
After customs and a taxi into Paris, we ought to be inside the apartment in just over the hour.
We've left no trail for the Swiss police to follow.
Not unless you happen to be travelling as Miss Modesty Blaise.
I haven't gone senile, Willie.
All right, Princess, I'm only joking.
You're using different passports as well, so we shall be all right.
Nothing to worry about.
Except for those 2 back at the villa.
No loose ends there either. All Mr. Paxero and his pal Damien will wake up to is a pair of thumping great headaches. I was an amateur thief they caught, and it was my accomplice who clobbered them from behind and helped me burgle the place. Which is how we made it look, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry, Willie. I've messed things up for you. The idea of dealing with those 2 was your case and not mine. I was only supposed to be helping. Then I make you call it off, turn everything around.
No, me princess, this is me, remember? Willie Garvin. Any way you want to play it, any time is okay with me.
You were finding that watch in Damien's room.
There's 2 names on it, so you said. One of them being yours.
And I haven't shown it to you yet, or told you what it means.
You will, when you're ready. And it was a bit of a shock, that's obvious.
Yeah, it was, Willie. I'll explain it all when we reach the apartment.
Damien, what news?
Nothing further, Pax.
What do you mean, nothing further?
The police say they'll continue their inquiries, but I can't see them getting anywhere. There's not much for them to go on, beyond the fact the villa was broken into.
I suppose it is all a minor affair. A few articles taken, fortunately nothing of real personal value. What about you?
Personal value? No, nothing like that.
Very well. Let us concern ourselves with the more important matter, the Limbo operation, and the woman, Modesty Blaise. She and the man John Dell were the ones Aunt Benita asked for, and we failed to get them.
Miss Benita can't have everything, or everyone.
Wrong, Damien. She can, provided I can do it without blowing the whole thing wide open. Remember, she's all that is left of my family, and even more than that. But for her, I would not be alive today.
Pax, I'm with you. You know that. But all this, well, it's a pretty bizarre game we're playing. There have to be limits.
Wrong again, my friend. No limits.
My advice with the Blaise girl is forget her.
Why?
Pax, I told you. She used to run the network with Garvin as her second in command, and that was a big setup, very big.
But as you also told me, she is no longer involved with it. She and this Garvin have retired, given up their connection with crime.
Even so, she's not one to tangle with.
You are afraid of her?
I think she's best left alone, that's all.
You seem very anxious to leave her alone.
Not anxious. Cautious.
Or is there something more? I wonder. Anyway, we will play this game, bizarre or not, to the end. Is that clear?
Couldn't be clearer, Pax. Now, what about Miss Benita? Shall we send a message to the plantation?
A message? No, I think not. She has set her heart on those 2. It will be best if I see her and explain things in person.
Will we be leaving straight away then?
There are still some items of business here in Europe to attend to. The bank in Geneva, also a meeting in Paris.
Oh, one thing about Paris never changes, the traffic.
And the smell of fresh French bread. Oh, I see the little bakery still there across the street.
How long are we going to be here, Princess?
Not long. I didn't want to go direct to London. I needed a stopover. A place to think. Especially now. About the watch, Willie. I said I'd explain.
When you're ready.
Here, take a look.
Oh, darn. If that's not a right little beauty, I don't know what is. You can't call anything like this a pocket watch. It's a work of art. Must be by Breguet.
Yes.
So it makes it what, 150 years old?
170.
Must be worth every penny of 3,000 quid.
Open the back of it, Willie. Read the inscription.
To Danny from Modesty. Danny?
Danny Chavasse. Remember him?
Sure. Got back a few years, though.
To the days when I was still building up the network. Morocco and Tangier.
When you first brought me into it, Danny was the one you put in charge of me to initiate me into some of the social graces. And nobody could have been better for the job.
That's why I chose him. I remember his report to me after only a month.
Willie Garvin learns fast, mademoiselle. He is what you would call a natural. You will find no trace now of the jailhouse rough you picked from the gutter at Saigon. Instead, you will find a man relaxed and at one in any company where you care to place him. I think you will be well pleased with the result.
I like Danny. I think everybody did. Very simpatico he was. Good-looking fellow and all.
Very. And when it came to women, he was in a class of his own. You may recall.
He never failed. A flipping genius with him. There's no other way of describing it.
That was his value to the network. If there was a woman who had information I needed, I'd put Danny to work on it. It didn't make any difference whether she was young, old, attractive, or plain. He always came back with everything I needed to know. And then, one day, I called him into my office for an important briefing. An urgent assignment.
I understand, mademoiselle. The Canary Islands. You've made a booking for me, as from next week, at the El Greco Hotel, Lanzarote. That is where the lady will be staying. You say her name is Jeanne Fournier.
It was a familiar routine for Danny. Check in at the hotel, wander onto the terrace, order a drink, and sit there wondering in a lazy kind of way what Jeanne Fournier would turn out to be like. Then the sound of high-heeled shoes coming towards him. He turned his head, rose to his feet as the woman stopped before him. But this time, he could tell at once, that special instinct of his, that she was feeling some kind of fear, trying hard not to show it, but it was there. He sensed it, the tension in her, and he was utterly astounded.
Mademoiselle, what brings you here? What is the matter? Has something gone wrong?
Then I told him, Willie. Nothing had gone wrong. It had all gone to plan. There was no Jeanne Fournier. I was his urgent assignment. You didn't mind, did you, Willie? Being dragged out like this for a walk.
Not a bit, Princess. That's what I need. Travel by the Seine.
There's always something special about it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Reminds me of a girl I once knew. Name of Miss Beck. I took her out on the Seine in a rowing boat. Then she wanted me to stop rowing. Within minutes, she'd got so blooming enthusiastic, she had the boat over.
Oh, Willie.
Even in the water, half drowning, she wouldn't let go of me. I reckon that's as close as I've come to dying for love.
Here's an empty bench. Let's sit down for a minute, shall we?
Sure.
About the watch, Willie, and Danny Chavasse. I gave it to him because of what he did for me. He prevented me from becoming a cripple.
Cripple?
Oh, I don't mean physically, but... Well, I had some nasty experiences when I was young. You know about some of them.
Well, now about the time when you were 12, wandering around the Near East alone, struggling for survival.
And getting raped, and sold to a brothel in Marseille.
I guess I didn't realize how badly it had affected you, Princess. I mean, you've had some pretty bad times since I've been around, but you've never got twisted up about them.
I know how to ride it now, Willie. But back then, in Tangier, I wasn't really a woman. I didn't hate men, but I was scared out of my wits at the idea of contact. One look and I'd freeze.
You managed to hide it well. There was never a whisper among the blokes.
I was their boss, Willie. I made them keep their distance. Playing the cold, efficient bitch suited me. I felt crippled. So I took the only chance I could see and briefed Danny Chavasse for the job.
Well, I'm glad it worked, Princess. Any chance of passing on his secret?
Oh, there didn't seem to be one. All I know is that when Danny switched on, it was 100%. You were all that existed for him. He knew just the right things to do at any given moment. And he did it so easily, so naturally. He never rushed. And somehow he wiped out all the bad times. It was like a new beginning.
What about when it ended? You didn't mind?
No, and don't ask me to explain that either. But there were no regrets, just good memories.
Well, that accounts for him suddenly disappearing from the network, I suppose.
He had to, Willie. He couldn't stay on afterwards. He knew that. And he said he understood.
And now, all of a sudden, the watch you gave him turns up in Damien's room in Paxero's villa.
Yes. But how? Why? Danny would never have sold that watch. He wouldn't have just lost it, and I don't think anyone could be smart enough to have stolen it from him.
No, not Danny.
We'll fly back to London in the morning and talk with Sir Gerald Tarrant. He's got an interest in the Paxero Damien setup.
Any talking with Sir G, you better do it. I'm not exactly persona grata with him right now.
Well, it's hardly the done thing to trick a Secret Service chief into believing he's been a thief's accomplice and leaving him shut up in a wardrobe. But the one who matters is Danny Chavasse. I owe him a debt, and a big one. If he's alive, I have to find him.
You and me together, Princess.
It's on my slate, Willie. You're not bound to come in.
Aren't I? It's like links in a chain, Princess. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be me. And you wouldn't be you if it wasn't for Danny. So I don't reckon you can leave me out.
I don't reckon I really want to. Thanks, Willie.
The way I see it, we've got two queries at the top of the list. First, is he alive?
And second, if he is, what in God's name has happened to him?
Hi, Danny. Come in. What's brought you to the surgery?
Something wrong with my foot.
Okay, sit down. I'll take a look.
I cut it, Kim, the day before yesterday, digging in the field. But it does not seem to be healing.
Mm-hmm. The climate, the treatment from these pigs of overseers out there, and standing all day working in the plantation doesn't help.
The coffee berries are ripening. They will be ready for picking soon.
And that means harder work for all, eh?
What else are slaves for? We are all slaves at Limbo. Even you, Kim.
Sure. Hold still now.
Limbo. A place where time is at a standstill. Where the past does not exist, the present has no meaning, and where there is no future.
Fits this setup to a T, doesn't it?
There's no escape either. If the overseers or Paxero's special guards do not kill you, the jungle will.
I'll clean out this cut, Danny, and put a dressing on. One thing about Miss Benita, she likes the people kept healthy.
The mistress of Limbo. An old woman with a nephew who gives her all this, like a toy to play with. They must be insane, both of them.
Paxero's sane enough to have made a pile of dough and made himself a big wheel in this part of the world. Cigarette?
You aren't supposed to share your privileges, Kim. It is safe.
I'll keep an eye open in case anyone comes. You know, if I was back in Los Angeles with that nameplate on the door spelling out Kimberly Crozier, M.D., I'd be telling you to give it up. But here I'm just a slave medic on a plantation where there are few enough comforts, so what the hell? You came in with a big intake, didn't you?
Yes. A happy gathering of the wealthy elite on Paxero's yacht.
What happened on the yacht?
4 of the stewards were Paxero specials. One night they took over, backed up by submachine guns. That fair-haired swine Damien was in charge. We were taken off in a boat, and the yacht was sunk.
And the crew?
15 of them. Submachine guns. Damien loved it.
God almighty.
I think people are not real to men like Paxero and Damien. Perhaps that is why they always succeed.
Not always, Danny. The way I hear it, they've just flipped up.
What?
2 slaves they didn't manage to get. A man and a girl Miss Benita saw in a magazine. I don't know who the girl was, but the man was called Dow. John Dow.
Big tycoon. Dow Enterprises. I once knew someone who was a close friend of his.
Well, it seems he and this girl were on a back-to-nature kick in the Idaho primitive area. A pair of Paxero's boys grabbed them easy. And then Dow up suddenly and shoots them down with their own guns. How about that?
Dow. Are you certain? That I cannot see. Not Dow. But the other possibility. Yes, it could be.
What's the matter?
It was not Dow who did it, Kim. It was the girl with him.
A woman? Oh, come on, Danny. I knew these men. They were born killers.
And I knew her. I once worked for her. Believe me, she has dealt with men like that before, with the kind of opposition that makes your flesh creep.
Well, you're not the kind of guy who goes off half-cocked, so I guess you know what you're saying. Does this help us any?
It might. It just might. If she had some reason to believe that I was not dead, she would start looking for me. You can bank on it, Kim.
And you figure she'd find you?
Somehow or other.
You must be pretty important to her.
No, but it would make no difference. That is how she is, you see.
That's the Gerald brandy, of course, isn't it, Willie?
Can't you tell? It's the biggest.
And her cigars?
Right there, Princess. The Tarrant's favorite brand. The biggest, naturally.
I'm overwhelmed by your solicitude.
No reason why you shouldn't be comfortable while we're discussing the Paxero business.
Brandy and cigars? I'm very civilized, I admit, even though their purveyor isn't.
But I'm very civilized for Gerald, and it's not usual for you to be rude to me.
I haven't felt the same towards you, my dear Modesty, since you virtually fell on the floor, laughing, when I told you about my night in the wardrobe.
Yeah, now, hold on, Sir G. That wasn't the princess's doing.
No, it was the accomplishment of a certain heartless snake in the grass by the name of Garvin. Neither of you is civilized, not deep down. It's only a thin veneer.
But Sir Gerald, you laughed at it yourself.
The fact that I was able to see the humorous side of it does little, if anything, to diminish the outrage.
Oh, dear. He's really up on his high horse, Willie.
I don't reckon he's going to get down off it, either.
On the contrary, I am now quite ready to dismount, having registered my protest.
Well, that's a relief.
Then let's get on with Mr. Paxero.
Whose name seems to crop up in strange places. Willie, I haven't told you yet. There was a letter waiting here for me from Dinah.
Oh?
That's your friend, the blind girl, isn't it? Married to that chap Collier, who goes into psychic investigation.
That's right, Sir G. Steve and Dinah Collier. How are they, Princess?
Fine. Dinah wants us to fly over and spend a bit of time with them as a celebration. She's pregnant.
That's nice. And how does Steve feel about it?
Well, according to her, he says he's very glad it took, because he wouldn't want to go through all that disgusting business again.
Not seriously meant, I think.
Where are they, Princess?
Well, that's just it, you see. And why I mentioned the letter from Dinah. Central America. A place called Tenazabal in Costa Rica. He's taken a job doing a study of the calendar of the Mayan people in relation to the stars. And here's the interesting bit. It's something known as the Cultural Institute of Costa Rica, sponsored by guess who?
Paxero?
Go to the top of the class.
As you say, Modesty. Interesting.
Sir Gerald, when you were asked by the Americans to check up on Paxero, how much information did they give you?
Not a great deal, actually. Born in Costa Rica, in a small peasant village. When he was still a child, he lost his family in an attack on the village by some rebel soldiers. An aunt brought him up. With good effect, it seems. He's now a very successful and rich businessman.
And there just could be a connection between him and a lot of people who've been going missing, believed dead.
Possible, not proved.
Including his own yacht doing a vanishing act with a full cargo of passengers.
In essence, what was planned for you and John Dow, Modesty?
Yes, the same pattern.
And still another thread of it would appear to be your finding of that Breguet timepiece.
Sir Gerald, the Americans must have a passenger list, mustn't they? For Paxero's yacht.
One would think so. You'd like me to inquire?
Please.
With reference to one particular name, I imagine.
That's right. Johnny Chavasse. Ramon, my boy. It is good to see you.
And you,
Damien?
Miss Benita. Everything seems to be going well with the plantation.
Do you expect anything else? The 2 new slaves I chose. Have you brought them, Ramon?
No, I'm afraid not.
It wasn't possible this time, Miss Benita.
Quiet, Damien. Aunt Benita, I'm worried about you. You're not looking well.
I am well enough. What do you mean you have not brought?
I am sorry about the 2 slaves. It is sometimes difficult.
Nothing in this world is easy, Ramon. You must try harder. Will you be staying here with me for a while?
2 days, if that is convenient.
Is that all? I see so little of you.
I have to go to Tenazabal to see the Englishman who is working on the Mayan calendar for you, if you are still interested.
But of course I am. What could be more important than a study of our own gods, the old gods? Oh, Ramon, my mind goes back to that day in our village when you were still a child. The soldiers came riding, shooting, slashing with their swords at the men. Your father dead. Your brothers and your uncles cut, bleeding. The flies covering their wounds. And then they seized the women, ripping away their clothes.
Oh, Benita, please.
And afterwards, when it was over, I crept from our hiding place, holding you close and trying to stop you from crying. Do you remember?
I remember.
I looked at the bodies, and I threw away the rosary in my hand. I tore the cross from my neck and trampled it into the dust.
And from then on you taught me to believe in nothing and no one but myself.
I was wrong.
Wrong?
Lately, I have come to realize that. We are Mayans, you and I. Children of the old gods. For centuries we have been crushed underfoot by invaders, and we have forgotten our heritage. But our gods did not die. If we turn to them again, they will renew us. Give them blood, and they will give back fine crops. Offer them sacrifice, and they will answer your prayers. I want you to arrange a sacrifice in the temple. That will help. The gods have health and strength in their gift if one pays the blood price. You understand, my boy?
I will see to it.
But not an animal. That will not please them at all. It must be a human. A girl.
A human sacrifice.
Not a Guatarican, of course. Must be a foreign girl. A gringo girl.
That would be very difficult.
That is what we must expect in life. Have you forgotten how many difficulties I myself have had to overcome in my time on this earth?
Of course not.
The gods will be pleased. It is too long since they had blood. Yes, too long. And it must be before the next full moon.
It is too soon. There are some difficulties which cannot be solved quickly, however hard one may try.
I see you do not wish to do this for me. I am disappointed. My tablet.
Bring the tablets, Damien.
There. Beside the glass.
Quickly. Here, Pax. I will see to her. Go and get that Dr. Crozier. I want him here. And I want him running. You hear me? Go on, man. Move.
here.
Oh, hello, Sir G. Dropped in for a cuppa, have you?
If that's an invitation, I gladly accept. Actually, I've come with some information. I've just had a reply from our American friend.
About the passenger list?
That's right. It appears that your friend Chavasse was one of the people on Paxero's yacht.
So I guessed right, Willie.
Mm-hmm. And if Danny had the watch with him...
I'd call it 99% certain.
Then how did it come to be in Damien's bedside drawer?
Exactly.
Maybe we ought to ask him in person, like.
I doubt if he'd talk just for the asking. And we've never gone in for the heavy persuasion stuff, have we?
In any event, it's rather too late for that, I'm afraid. I've been having words with my man in Switzerland. The villa's been handed back to the agency it was hired from. Paxero and Damien have left. Destination unknown.
Oh, lovely.
Modesty, you have considered the possibility that Chavasse is dead?
Considered it, yes. But I don't think that's what's happened. I keep coming back to all those disappearances over the years, with no bodies ever turning up. Not one as proof of death.
You realize what follows from that?
Of course.
All those others who've vanished may also be alive.
And that piles up a few more questions on our plate. Like who's got them, where are they, and why?
First priority, though, Willie, is finding out whether or not Danny is dead.
Just how do you propose to do that, my dear?
At this moment, I don't know, Sir Gerald. But I know I can't just let it lie. It's a tough one. But we'll think of something. We'll have to think of something.
Tim, I must have a word with you.
Danny, have you got permission to come here?
No.
Are you crazy?
I saw you and Damien earlier running up to the house.
Oh, so that's it.
What has happened?
The one thing I've been afraid of, Danny. Miss Benita.
Dead?
No, not yet. But soon, if I'm any judge. Her heart. And when it goes, you know what that means.
Closed down. The last day in Limbo.
And the end for everyone on the place. Paxero see to that he daren't leave a single one of us alive. To the outside world, we're all dead anyway.
Could we fight?
What chance do we stand? Come on, you tell me.
True. There are only half a dozen who would even try. The others have had all the fight knocked out of them.
I'll tell you something, Danny. The woman you told me about.
Modesty Blaise?
Yes. The way it looks to me, she's all there is. The one and only hope we've got.
Throughout the week, BTC Radio and Audiobook channel brings you the best adventure mystery dramas on the air. So here, action-packed, fast-moving plots to hold your interest right up to the smashing climax on such thrilling programs as Big Town, Mr. District Attorney, The Big Story, and Dragnet, every week on most of this BTC Radio and Audiobook channel. On Dragnet, you'll hear the documented cases from the Los Angeles police files. The Big Story brings you two tales from the front pages of America's newspapers. Mr. District Attorney, the champion of the people, takes you through an exciting episode in the conviction of a criminal. We have series of Philip Marlowe, Pat Novick, Boston Blackie, Nick Carter, and many more. So stay tuned. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and press the like button. For daily update, click the bell icon for our latest post and new episode uploads. Please not forget to share with your friends and family. And if you'd like to support us, scan the PayPal QR code on your screen. Every donation helps us restore and upload more rare episodes just like this one.